The email arrived just after lunch, flagged as urgent, though the tone inside was anything but. It was polite, clinical, almost rehearsed. Effective immediately, my compensation would be reduced by 58%. Same responsibilities, same expectations, same hours. Or if I felt that no longer aligned with my goals, I was welcome to resign by the end of the week. No apology, no explanation beyond market conditions. I reread the number 3 times, waiting for it to feel unreal, but it didn't. It felt deliberate, like a test. They assumed I'd react emotionally, argue, plead, or walk. What they didn't expect was silence. I leaned back in my chair, closed the laptop, and let the moment pass without giving them the satisfaction of a response. For years, I had been the reliable one, not loud, not political, not constantly reminding leadership of my value. I delivered results, solved problems, absorbed complexity, and made other people look competent. My work stabilized clients, prevented disasters, and quietly generated revenue no one wanted to trace back to a single name. That reliability became invisible over time. To them, I wasn't an asset anymore. I was a line item, something adjustable. They believed my loyalty was rooted in comfort, that my lifestyle depended on compliance, and that fear would keep me in place. Cutting my pay wasn't about saving money. It was about leverage. They wanted to see how much pressure it took before I folded. The anger came later, but not in that moment. In that moment, there was only clarity. I thanked them for the update and said I'd review the details. No protest, no threat. The call ended quickly, and I could almost feel the relief on the other end, as if they'd just crossed a difficult task off a list. What they didn't realize was that by presenting the ultimatum so casually, they had revealed how little they understood the structure they were standing on. Power loves noise, but real leverage lives quietly in systems, dependencies, and overlooked details. And I knew those details better than anyone. That evening, I didn't vent to friends or update my resume. I opened my files, contracts, timelines, client correspondence, internal approvals. Over the years, I had become the point of continuity between several long-term accounts, not officially by title but by function. Certain clients trusted me because I had been the one who cleaned up messes others created. Certain approvals ran through me because leadership didn't want to manage the nuance. None of this was dramatic. It was practical, and it meant that my role wasn't as replaceable as they believed, at least not without disruption. They hadn't calculated. That's when I noticed it. A clause buried in a service agreement, paired with a compliance requirement that hadn't been updated since the previous quarter. Nothing explosive, nothing illegal, just a dependency chain that assumed my oversight by default. If I left abruptly, timelines would slip. I mentioned clauses or penalties. I didn't raise my voice. I simply explained that a sudden pay cut would require me to reevaluate my availability, and that any reduction in oversight might affect delivery timelines. I let the implication sit there without sharpening it. Silence does more work than threats ever could. Within 48 hours, the ultimatum collapsed. The pay cut was reframed as a proposal, then as a misunderstanding, then quietly withdrawn. A revised package appeared, close to my original compensation, paired with a sudden interest in long-term retention. Meetings were scheduled. Appreciation was expressed. The same people who assumed I would accept less or disappear were now careful with their words, aware that they had misjudged where control actually lived. I didn't celebrate. I didn't gloat. I accepted the correction and adjusted my boundaries accordingly. What changed wasn't just the number on my paycheck. It was the dynamic. They learned that authority doesn't come from issuing ultimatums, and leverage doesn't come from titles. It comes from understanding systems, from being patient enough not to react when you're provoked, and from knowing when a single, well-placed action can do more than 100 emotional responses. I didn't win by fighting. I won by letting them reveal their assumptions and responding only when the timing was right. This isn't a story about revenge or standing your ground through force. It's about recognizing that pressure is often applied by people who believe you have no options. The moment you respond emotionally, you confirm that belief. The moment you pause, observe, and act strategically, the balance shifts. Most people are not defeated by power. They're defeated by the illusion of it. If you understand where value actually flows, you never need to raise your voice. You just need to make the right call at the right time.